What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Throw Show. Sam, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
How do you feel that you're beating me right now in our Throws University bald head poll?
That was gonna happen. The drip is too good.
Also, you are copying what I'm wearing, basically. You have blue shorts, a black shirt. I think you're totally ripping everything off from me.
It was take your son to work day, and evidently you want to be like me. So,
oh my God, that's funny. So we're gonna talk about World Championships in Budapest today, which I want to just tell everybody before we started filming. I went downstairs. Sam works in the front office at Garage Strength here, and I went downstairs. I was like, Sam, do you know who won every event in the throws at World Champs? And not only did he know who the winner was, you knew what round they won. So I was quite impressed.
yeah,
What round was Laugie's big throw?
it was her 5th attempt.
What was her drink of choice the night we went out on a boat? Prosecco. No, I'm just kidding. So, all right, let's get into this. That was a really great time. We'll have to talk about that off air. Starting off, though, I wanted to go into two big throwers. Val Allman coming out 70-47, the Istov comp in Berlin. I want to say she had another throw before this. Did she have 2 throws over 70 recently?
That's a good question.
And that technique there, I think, is like on point, obviously. And I suspect that she's probably going to drop a huge throw in Eugene as well. I feel like she usually does throw fairly well in Eugene. I've seen her throw 70 meters in qualifying there, so I'm interested to see what she does at the Diamond League final, which I'm heading over to Eugene tomorrow.
Yeah.
For that, I just want to watch this again.
Yeah. I agree. She's been in shape, especially coming off, the World Championships. Defending USA, defending home. So I think her training's been going well as of recently, and she'll probably go crazy.
Yeah, I think so. I think, too, it's like it stinks because she didn't win the world title, but she still threw well. And at the same time, it's like, she's probably going to try to she's very likely the favored thrower to defend the discus Diamond League title. All right, so we're getting into Zane Weir. Let's see here. Zano 777, 22-44. Notice that reverse on this throw. I feel like he usually doesn't do that.
Yeah, that's something I noticed.
And I was wondering, 15th on the all-time. I did not realize this is the furthest that dude, I did not realize that this is the furthest throw by a European since 1989.
That's wild.
Who would that have been? Timmerman?
That's a good question.
When did Andre have those huge throws? Alessandro Andre. He has here too. Not bad for a small coastal town boy. Standing on the shoulders of giants. I love that comment. That's a huge freaking throw. 22-44. Dude, he's not that big of a guy in comparison. He's so twitchy though, just as wiry as possible.
He's another guy. It's good to see him bounce back, especially after Worlds.
Yeah, Worlds was tough. Like, he still threw well. Made the final and did well there. But what do you think about the throw, technique wise?
I think overall, Zane definitely has a different style of throwing. He does all the fundamentals, but the biggest thing that just stands out is how he gets into the toe board on the reverse. It's kind of like that glider style where you just get in, you hold it, and it's just like he knew he smacked it. Like, you could just tell, like,
yeah. Trying to see what he does with this left arm here in the middle. Even though I even said I didn't want to spend too much time on Val and Zane because I wanted to get in. And Tom's here. Another huge bomb, 22-46 for Tom in Zagreb. This throw I liked a lot. And how do you feel about Zane and Tom, technique wise? Do you see any comparison there?
I mean, it goes back to just like that style thing. They both have their own unique style, but at the end of the day, it's all the same fundamentals. Just like I said with Zane, it's good to see Tom kind of bounce back as well, even though, he's been very consistent this whole season, but to go 22-46 with, Joe in this comp and Fabrini in this comp, just, bounce back and just do his thing,
Gets fourth at World Championships with a 22-meter throw when in years past, 22 would be an automatic win, basically pre-Crouser, pre-Kovacs era.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about.
That's nuts. All right, so let's get started right off with now getting into the World Championships, just rolling through everything. And I want to say, this men's hammer was freaking cool. Men's hammer was cool. One, I don't know if it did justice, like watching online, but the stadium was absolutely packed, like every session, just packed and loud. Like even the first session was, raining, shot qualifying, still loud. And the other thing was there's a Hungarian who I think might have even medaled. He might have gotten third, or he might have gotten bumped out like top 4. But there was a Hungarian hammer thrower who also was throwing well, and I believe might have even been in the lead at one point, maybe early on in the comp. So it was cool to see how alive the stadium was, and then for Katzberg to come out, pop off. And I think the annoying part I'm going to say around Katzberg is that people are like, oh, he just sort of came out of nowhere, whereas we've sort of been seeing him like the last year and a half. And I was, when we were talking in Budapest, it's like, I want to say this dude's been on the throw show like at least 4 or 5 times over the last year, where we'd be like, oh crap, what did he just throw?
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty neat. And then on top of that, I wanted to just point out as well that Dylan here was my training partner in 2007 and 2008 with Dr. B, when I was coached by Dr. B and by Dylan. And I've never really talked to Katzberg, but it was cool to see Dylan. I didn't get to actually talk to him at all. I only saw him in the stadium, and I was up on the second level when he was coaching the hammer throw. So I didn't get to talk to him while I was there, but it's just cool to see sort of like this full circle of a training partner in the shot who he himself was also a good hammer thrower. Obviously, Dr. B was Olympic champion in the hammer thrower, Coach Yuri Sadiq, Coach Litvinov, Nikulin, all these, Yuri Tam, all these freaks. And then now sort of come full circle where Dylan's taking the reins from Dr. B, and now Katzberg goes out and wins a world title. It's freaking sweet.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to point out that little backstory. But Katzberg it's crazy for me to think like the Canadians. Okay, so if you think about Katzberg and then Cameron Rogers wins the women's hammer. Mm-hmm. Both of them are, what's Cameron, 22?
I believe so, 22, yeah.
He's 21?
21, yep.
Dude, we could see, think about they could be throwing till they're 35. Look at Joe. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, how many world titles, Olympic titles could they potentially have?
Yeah.
It's gonna be really, really fun to watch. Absolutely. Both of their progress.
Absolutely.
I almost wanted to ask the question because I know Dr. B's system, they do not lift that heavy. And I know Cameron is probably one of the strongest females on the entire planet. So does Cameron ever pick at Ethan and say, and I know they're in 2 different training groups, and just say like, yo, I'm stronger than you, Ethan. What are you doing?
Possibly.
So here's Cameron Rogers, just an absolute monster, huge gamer. After her performance last year, I feel like a lot of people felt this could happen and, possibly would. I would have liked to see Brooke in the final, which, again, a lot of people who aren't in the meet or there at the meet, it's so, like, qualifying, I think, and talking with a lot of the top throwers, talking with Sam, a lot of times qualifying is way more stressful. Actually, Ryan Whiting was my roommate, and he brought that up. He's like, dude, qualifying is always more stressful than the actual final because there's 3 throws and there's so much pressure. Like, what if you don't make it? That's an embarrassing. Mm-hmm. It's embarrassing if you don't make it through.
Yeah.
So sucks for Brooke in that position, but Cameron took advantage of it and just went out and rocked it from the first throw.
Yeah, I was about to say she won it on her first attempt, and I agree. I had a question out on Throws University. It was about Operation Hammer Sweep. Just seeing if the U.S. women's could sweep the hammer. And with Brooke not making it, it kind of just left it open to anyone.
Right.
And watching the competition, like Cameron Rogers was locked in from the get-go. She was just focused, stone cold all the way through the competition, cranked that first throw, and just never took her foot off the pedal.
Nope. Yeah, and I felt like even just watching it, it was like, yeah, she had it won from the first throw, but even if Deanna or Janae, like, if somebody would have come back and popped one off, I felt as if it wouldn't have lived. Like like to me, she was just dialed in mentally, and you could almost see that when the comp was over, like this massive release of emotions from her. One, because she just won her first world title, which is sick, right? But also, it's like, I feel like she was here mentally, like on another planet.
Oh, absolutely.
Dialed in. And I felt like even if someone will go out and go 77.50, 78 meters, she could come back and hit a 79-meter throw.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I just feel like she's got that ability. She's got that like charisma when she is competing. She's got charisma as an individual herself too. I think that's the other cool part is like she's a cool chick, and I think it's like a great personality. All the Hammer women are absolutely fantastic people. So it's just great to see her come out with that gold medal. Here we go. Haruka Kitaguchi. I wanted to point out, I did not realize that Czech Republic is now referred to as Czechia. Just for clarification. So tell us what were you watching this live?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched this live.
You were watching this live.
I like women's javelin. I there are a lot of good athletes over there, and just from my coaching experience, women's javelin is definitely like one of my favorites. So, Haruka, she was doing fairly well whole competition. She was in medal contentions for majority of the competition. On, I believe it was round 5 or round 6, it was one of the two. She got bounced out of medal contentions, and I believe she was sitting 4th or 5th. And on that last attempt, do or die moment, she ripped it. She went 66.73 to win the competition.
Right.
Just kind of, she knew it was there the whole time. Like, you could see her interacting with her coach after each throw, but it just came down to that last attempt, and
boom, there it is.
She just hit it, took the dub.
Yeah, so her coach is actually from Czechia. That's why I pointed that out.
Gotcha.
Takes a dub. Who was in second? Was it a Colombian?
Yeah. Which, funny enough, I looked at the stats of her competitions. She didn't PR for, I believe it was for like 5 years.
Oh, really?
And then she PR'd on her first attempt to take the lead, and she was winning all the way up until this toss.
Oh, my goodness. And then the Australian girl got third? Is that accurate?
I believe so. I'll say it.
I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I feel like she does. Yeah, I think she's in third.
Yeah,
there,
little,
the
yeah.
Australian
Yeah.
girl, yeah. Yeah, that's intense. That's crazy. I think that's like, if you, and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but if you look at Haruka, Daniel, Stahl, Crouser had it one prior, but like his last throw, Loggy, it was round 5, I know, but like the last 2 rounds,
crazy.
And dude, you just look across the board. Katzberg might have even been round 4 or 5 when he took the lead back, I feel like. But you just, dude, there was just so many. The comps were insane, like absolutely insane. So let's go over Chopra. And I want to bring this up about the throw show, is that very rarely do we talk about javelin, and you're forcing us to adapt our ways here. You're getting us to be a little bit better with our love of throws. So I did want to point that out.
Absolutely.
So he came out second throw, 88-17. Another comp where there's a lot of big time names missing. A couple Germans weren't even there. A couple of the big time guys either didn't make the final or didn't make the top 8. And I think that's just, Chopra didn't win last year, but coming off that Olympic title, it's going to be, I still think, and I know he's been dominant. I think he might even have the world lead right now. The Pakistani guy has been on the come up as well.
Yeah.
Dude, he's another guy that has just sort of been climbing up the ranks as well. So it's like you see those guys, and then the other dude, I mean, is the other guy from Czechia or Czech Republic?
Good question.
That's a good question. We also have to improve our geography, by the way.
That's definitely big for me.
Yeah.
But a big thing with Chopra was his first attempt. He didn't like it, and he intentionally fouled. And then on that next one, he just hit it. And, when he hits it, he turns around. He celebrates. You just knew, he was locked in. He knew it was it. And it was just, exciting, Just kind of bringing that, swagger to javelin, which I feel especially over here, isn't, the most popular.
Yeah.
Guys like this are just making it fun and making it exciting. And, he was India's first world champion after being the first Olympic medalist. So it's just, he's bringing more attention to the javelin.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. All right, and then we go into Chase Ely, and so Chase's big throw was in round 5. Now she had first throw was a banger for her, and then she came back and followed that up with another bigger throw in round 5. I think what's interesting now with Chase is, as far as dominance is concerned, she's been sort of maybe up and down a little bit, but the fact that the U.S. has never had anyone win a world title, and she's won 2 now from the women's side.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it's fantastic, and she's getting very close, creeping close to I'm waiting for her to pop something big. I think there will be a time when Chase goes 21 meters.
100%.
I believe that's going to happen.
100%.
And honestly, the other thing I wanted to just bring up is she had seasonal struggles or whatever, where she's not throwing great, but still throwing well, throwing 1940, 1950 struggles for her because she's so good. But in all reality, she had no struggles. She came out and just laid the wood on everybody in a tough comp. And that's the other thing too, is I also wanted to give a big shout out. Sarah Mitten is one of my favorite female shot putters. I love watching her throw. Her, Danielle Thomas-Dodd, just mainly because they're shorter, but they move so well. And I've got a special thing with Sarah because she had one of her huge breakthrough performances was here when she was younger. She threw I want to say 1842 here at a Power Fest 2018 maybe it would have been 2019, and she had broken the under 25 Canadian record at the time. So to see her coming up the ranks and then to freaking get second at the world championship is awesome. Not to take anything away from Chase, because I just think we might see Chase go out, win an Olympic title, and then come back and win the world title in Tokyo in 25. Honestly, I won't be surprised if that's how things play out. And I thought her technique looked great here. She looked way more stable in the circle, and it's all right, well, maybe she wasn't actually struggling all year. Maybe it was just that's how her training was lining up. Yo, we're trying to win the world title. Yeah, we can go out and throw 1940, 1950 and get through these meets in the early part of the season, but we're trying to get training in, so it sets us up for that big throw in Budapest.
When it mattered the most.
Yeah, and we'll see this weekend, too. She's probably going to pop something off this weekend.
One thing that I do want to address, Chase won, you said it before, she bettered her mark, but I think she's the first woman to win 2 world championships on her first attempt.
No way.
I think she's the only one to do it.
That's cool.
And she did it here. She did it last.
Well, the only thing is we'd have to look back at Valarie Adams when she was
But on the first attempt?
Dude, she was good, man.
She was good, don't get me wrong. We'll have to double check that. But on the first attempt.
I mean, there was a Belarusian who was on a ton of drugs back when she was competing. I think it was a Stopchuk. We'd have to go back and look. Yeah. We should have a fact check. We should have a whole episode on fact checks.
Fact checking.
Yeah. Dude, I think that's an interesting thing. So I've talked about this, and I'm gonna get flack for this one. I still believe Valarie Adams is the greatest shot putter, male or female, simply because of world titles and Olympic titles. Will that uphold? You know, she never broke the world record, which is also, and I know Crouser broke a world record of a drug user. The women's world record's like 2270 or something. It's so freaking far. I don't even remember what it is. Where I'm going with this is that I would still make the argument she is the greatest shot putter, male or female, until Crouser probably wins his third Olympic title. But still, dude, I think she has like 6 or 7 world championship titles. So I know she doesn't have. I did want to point that out. Now, Chase, dude, this is going to be really, really cool to see what plays out with Chase, you know, over, you know, the Diamond League, and then how she builds into next year. Because I think she's just getting more and more confident in the training situation that she's in. I think her technique looks better than it ever has, and I think we're going to see some big monster throws next year. I think next year might be the year she goes 21.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for women's shot too, and it's exciting for the U.S.
Absolutely.
Because I'm a big homer with stuff like that. Like, I think, especially the women's shot, I just love. I thought she did a really good job coming off that left. Like, it was quicker. It seemed quicker than usual for her, and she just caught that middle really well.
Yeah,
dude, I think her technique is really, really getting solid. Okay, and that takes us to the absolute monster. This dude, I think what's wild. So I sort of felt bad. This throw's going off. All right. So on the other end of the field was the men's discus, and Matt Denny, I want to say, was on his last throw, and he hadn't qualified yet. Goes in and hits the qualifier, and it's like happening at the exact moment that this is happening. So I was on the other side of the field watching, like, from a distance, and up on the screen, Whiting sitting next to me, and we're just watching Crouser. Nobody's paying attention to anything going on in the discus circle. But it's like, this dude had 2 blood clots in his leg. Like, that's insane.
Literally insane.
And I don't know if this is accurate. Okay, I wanted to share another little backstory. Is he had that squat session, which I would believe he probably had that squat session because he wasn't able to train for like 4 weeks, essentially, from my understanding. But also, I believe he was throwing an 18-pounder outside the stadium. I don't know if that's a fact, but I had heard this from multiple different shot putters, that he was actually warming up with an 18-pounder throwing like 22. And a lot of people were like, what's up with Crouser? He's only throwing 22.
Yeah.
And then it turns out it was an 18-pound shot that he threw.
That's why he's the GOAT. Bro.
Yo,
he's the GOAT, man.
And I think, like, if we can think about stability for the technique, you watch him, you watch Chase, and that's the thing. That's what makes them so freaking good. By the way, those cameras, they put in a horrible spot. Usually they're back a little bit because I feel like Ryan might have almost tripped over them. Fabry almost tripped over him, or he did actually trip over him. I just wanted to throw that out there. And the other thing was, I think they had on the line there, they had a sign, and it said world record, but it was actually the competition record. It was like something was screwed up because that throw looked like it was like 40 centimeters over the world record. I don't know if we can see that. 23:51 though, dude. 51. What's he gonna throw in Eugene? Dude, I think he might break the world record this weekend.
Probably. Because
I'm assuming he's been back in Oregon for a while now. I know he doesn't live there permanently, but I'm assuming he's been there training-wise and for the health of his leg. There's a slide step. Boom. So good, dude.
I was watching this with Tamon and Jason, and we knew he was going to win, but rounds 1 through 5, you could just see there was something slightly off. It was, for me, it was something with the sweep leg. But on that, last attempt, you could just see his sweep get around, just get down to the middle. And as
It's
soon
over.
as his foot touched the middle, I was like, that's 23.
Yeah, yeah,
And he hits it, celebrates. He knows it's 23.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But it's just like, it's crazy how like just one minute thing changed and he went off.
I think there's been a couple meets this year too where I feel like he's had that where like he's just a little off with technique or whatever it might be, and he's like troubleshooting his movement pattern during the actual event.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another crazy part is like he's making audibles essentially on his technique. He's pulling Tom Brady like in the midst of
Competition.
a world championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and goes out and throws. Now think back to 2019. 2019 it was 22.91 that won it, and then we go into Tokyo in 21. That was what 23.36, and then now he's. Dude, what's he gonna throw like? So this is the other scary part. He's been talking about throwing discus. When is he going to? Is he going to take him? Dude, he has.
I would love that.
So my question is, and I sort of have a little prediction on this one, is like, does he win the Olympic title or go to defend his Olympic title next year?
Mm-hmm.
Go to Tokyo in 25, win the world title there, or defend his world title, and then spend 26 because there's no real big competitions in 26. Training for discus, and then come back and try and win an Olympic or push for that title.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, well, I just think it would be a fun game to play.
Let's start that campaign. Bring Ryan Crouser back to discus.
I don't want that.
I do. I want to see it.
And that actually takes us. Actually, I want to go into Loggy first, just to keep that American theme rolling. And out of all of the world champs, I feel like Loggy winning she's going to be so positively impacted by this title. Mm-hmm. And dude, she loved the fact that on Throws You, that the day of the comp, she was like the main person.
Yeah.
She
saw
loved that,
and I was like, I have to make this video with Loggy in it. I was like, I have to put her first. I don't know why. I was just like, I have to put her in there.
I think the thing is like, I feel like I don't know if it's because we're all pretty tight with her, like, and have talked, like, hang out with her and stuff like that, that it's like, for me personally, I've always thought she could throw 70 meters, like, always. Mm-hmm. And it's like, one of those things where it's like you've just been waiting for it, and after U.S. Nationals, when she popped off in round 6 at U.S. Nationals, it's like, dude, like you could see it could happen. And then what was crazy is that in qualifying, I want to say in qualifying, she didn't have a great opening throw, and then came out and then qualified on the second throw, and then she did the same thing in the final. Yeah, and it's like, so she's had pressure throws in this stadium, in this event, and come out and had a 52-meter toss and putting her in a tough spot, gets through, and then ends up freaking goes out and just cranks one. 69.49. I mean, did she? I think she might have even won by a meter.
It was very close, yeah.
So that's like the other thing I wanted to bring up about her and Daniel Stahl is like, she didn't just win on that 5th throw or the 6th throw, but like she won pretty substantially. Mm-hmm. And it's a huge throw. I gotta check something. I don't know why this person's. Sorry, we gotta edit that out of the. I've been getting these phone calls. Okay, so I think it's just like her being the first woman from the U.S. to win a world title in discus, huge. Her winning it, the way she won it, and then you could see, on her 6th throw, 6th round, like coming in and knowing that she had everything like. Yeah, wrapped up, dude. And she still threw well in the 6th round.
She threw
67 or 60. Yeah,
it was somewhere around 67, 68.
She cranked one.
Cranked one.
Yeah, so it's like
the funny thing is, so we said that she had the lowest distance throw at 52 meters. On her 3rd attempt, she PR'd. She went 65, which then qualified her for the finals. On her 4th attempt, she fouled, but it was like a 67.
Yeah, that was deep.
I remember watching it. We were down in the gym, and I was looking at the other guys. I was like, "Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Like, that was huge."
Yeah.
And
that
after that toss, I knew like something's up.
Yeah.
And then that fifth attempt, she just hit it, and it was just like I know she was shocked, but we were all looking at each other like,
whoa,
what just happened?
Yeah.
Like she just popped off out of nowhere.
See, the thing is, like they've been playing around with her static start for like years, and then they've also been playing around with her adding the wind. And when they would add the wind, they would see like anywhere from 3 to 4 meters of an improvement out of the static position. And so they also, from talking to John and talking to Loggy, they wanted her to hit it in like round 4 or 5 because they didn't think anybody could actually respond. Now the problem was it was like an oh shit situation in round 3, but then hitting that in round 4 or 5, she had the big foul, but then hitting it in round 5, you're only getting people one chance, really one chance, because it's sort of like this shock, like, oh shit. So you're only giving them one chance to respond, and that played out perfectly. Yeah, perfectly. And it doesn't always happen that way, but when it does, it's fantastic. And I think that's just one of the coolest things about her throw and what she did. I think like she's going to be so positively impacted by this, and leading into next year, it's going to be, dude, fantastic. So
absolutely.
That takes us to Daniel Stahl, who his coach retired at the end of last year after the Diamond League, gets a new coach, dials everything in, and has like the year of his life.
Absolutely.
Literally just has, how many meets did he have over 70 freaking meters?
I want to say like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It was a good amount.
Dude, this throw, it was so loud after Che hit 70. And I feel like, okay, so after Che hit 70, we're sitting there and we're like, damn, he hit 70, like, but we've got to wait and see. Stahl just seemed slightly off a little bit. What can happen here? And I was sitting there, with Whiting, and I'm like, I'm going to video this. I want to just in case something happens.
Yeah.
And I think, not to take anything away from Che, because he's amazing. He had the competition record. But, dude, Stahl beat him by a meter and a half.
A meter, yeah.
And a meter and a half almost. Yeah. Like, dude, this throw, 71-46, it's not just far. It's ungodly far. And I'm going to point this out. This stadium had 0 wind the whole week. There was no wind in the stadium. It was dead. That's why qualifying, there was no one over 67. Everybody was under 67 in qualifying.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, the stadium was hot, humid, and dead with wind, and both of those guys went 70, and him going 71-46. So I just want to rewatch this, because I also think this might be one of the greatest celebrations ever as well.
Absolutely.
He just sits into that left forever. And as soon as he sees that, boom.
Just another do or die moment. And it's just like, he just rose to the occasion.
Yeah, so he's, multiple time world champ, Olympic champ, dude, stone face, absolute animal. And it's one of those things where I said to you guys when we had our team meeting at the end of the year there, like, it might honestly be one of the coolest throws I've ever witnessed. Like, it might be the coolest throw that has ever happened in the sport. Like, it was just mind-boggling to me to see this after he just got sniped and to just come back and be like, nope, this is mine.
Absolutely.
So
I put a question out there on Throws You, and it's like, just with how dominant Che has been and, Alekna, I was like, do you think that we'll see Che win or like Alekna win, or do you think we'll see Daniel win? But the way I phrased that was like, do you think we'll see the infamous run?
Oh, yeah, okay.
We got to see the infamous run in the coolest manner ever, but it's just like, you're winning going into the last couple rounds, and then this guy just pops 70 to take the win. It's like, it's really a do or die moment. It's just like, make or break, you got one attempt. And he went in there, like you said, just stone cold, not phased, did all the little things perfectly, just executed everything perfectly, and then won by a meter and a half.
So I think what we were talking about with Cameron Rogers earlier in the show, and talking about her just very clear state, like mental state that she was in, the mentality she was rolling with. I felt like Daniel had that same state. He was not comfortable during the entire comp, meaning he wasn't like satisfied.
Yeah.
I felt like he had a decent feeling, a decent rhythm, but had he been pushed, or if he was going to get pushed, he would respond.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what it was. I mean, that's what I think I took up my phone, and I'm like, I'm going to actually video this throw, because I just felt like he would do it. And I think that's it's like this you can't really even put a word to it, of like, they're just, Cameron Rogers, Katzberg, Crouser, clearly, Stahl, they just put themselves in these mental situations where it's just them in the discus, dude, or them in the hammer. They're not taking, they're just living it, and everybody else is a part of their world. And I think that's something that's very hard to do.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Loggy talking about her taking that medal.
That was the exact thought I had. Especially after that foul, I was like, oh, like, she's about to take somebody's medal. And then that fifth attempt, she did it.
Yo, that's such a good video. Oh, geez, that's great. I love that clip, and the genuine emotion, I think, too. It's just like, that's what makes throwing so unique and so cool, is like, it's an individual sport, and you have those thoughts, and I feel like everybody can feel what Loggy was putting out, And I actually even think what's funny to me is as we try to like proliferate throwing to the world, is like, we want people to train thinking about, like, can I be the next Loggy? Mm-hmm. Like, dude, and we're gonna be talking about Sam, because Sam's going to the Diamond League. Sam legitimately said, like, I'm just gonna try and pull a Loggy, dude. I'm just trying to go ham. That's it. And I think that's the neat part, is it's like, can you look up to somebody like Loggy or Val or Daniel or Che or the javelin guys, and you look at them chase, and you're going like, I want to have that moment, and you can live that. When like you watch these movies like Sandlot, and they're like, they pretend they're in the World Series. Well, we're gonna start having kids like pretend they're on the last throw at World Champs.
Oh, absolutely,
dude. That's what makes it cool. You probably did that today at training.
Hey, I do that. I had the headband out today.
Yeah.
I was just putting myself in that zone where it's just like, all right, I warmed up well. I did what I could. I tried to execute, but now it's just like smash mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Smash mode.
So here is Sam, and I believe you're in this video as well.
Yes, sir.
Sam Mattis getting ready for the Diamond League. That was hard for him to just, he didn't have a great comp at Worlds. I think he got 14th, 63-60 or something, or 63-40. Not a great performance, not a horrible performance, especially coming off of testicular cancer, but he still has the Diamond League final coming up this weekend. And then the big thing is just getting him ready for going to the trials next year and trying to get back to the Olympics and really making that Olympic final. So Sam's, I see that Danish small hashtag that you got in there.
Yeah.
And then finally, we got Jaime here. So a lot of people were asking me about Jaime, actually, when we were at World Championships in Budapest, because a lot of people saw her throw 67-41, I think, in New York, where it was just super humid. And even if you look at the dude, if Jaime could throw for the U.S. women's team with Jaime,
that would be
and
insane.
Val and Loggy.
Val, Loggy, Jaime just duking it out.
Yo, that'd be so sick.
That would be amazing.
So a lot of people were asking me about it. And I think the big thing is like, dude, we're still in a queue to get reviewed for her for seeking asylum here in the United States. And so she's seeking asylum, and then that gets reviewed. And then if she's granted the asylum, she would be recognized as a refugee, which then it would come down to the World Athletics making a decision if she could represent the refugee team next year. The problem is the queue is so long. There was, a large amount of Afghani refugees in 21, 22, and a couple other African countries where there's a large amount of refugees, and so it's like waiting for that to go through. She does have her permanent residency stuff in the works right now in the U.S., which would put her about 3 years from last World Championships, so 22, so 25. Potentially, maybe 26. It's a long road. A lot of people don't realize how long that can be. But she sort of, she's trying to stay as positive as possible while just clipping away. And she had a good season this past year. I think she still has like the number 4, number 5 world ranking right now. Probably dropped a little bit after World Championships, but just got to keep plugging away.
Keep plugging away.
There's nothing else to do. And I think that's just throwing in general. That's like the big lesson of throwing is like you look at the years and years and years of work that it goes into it, how strong you have to be to attain these things. Actually, I wanted to bring up like somebody like Matty Denny. The dude goes out and throws 68 meters and gets 4th. Mm-hmm. And he got 4th at the Olympics as well. It's like he balls out. 68 mid, breaks the Australian national record, and still just gets 4th place. But he's been plugging and plugging and plugging, and that's somebody that I think we could potentially see him on the podium next year in Tokyo. So it's like,
I think so,
or not in Tokyo, in Paris.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no better lesson than the Matty Denny lesson. Is like you just got to keep chipping away, and you just got to keep doing the same thing and keep doing that same work if you want to become a champion.
Absolutely.
All right. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.